What's up, Goon Squad? It's your boy Nola Gold with the first Goon Squad Coaching Academy. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but it's the first of a series of coaching calls. I want to make this a regular thing pretty much every Tuesday, and I want to open it up to everybody who subscribes to my channel, everybody who is a Patreon subscriber, as well as IQ Patreon subscribers as well. I've been coaching, just to give you a little backstory, I've been coaching card games for over 4 years now. I did Magic the Gathering for 3, and a lot of success stories coming out of that. And it's something that I really have come to enjoy. When I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher, and it was something that I didn't pursue educationally. And it's kind of a good outlet for me. It's something that I like, and it's a different approach than what I do with my stream, because whenever I stream card games or whatever, it's always like infotainment, so I have to focus a little bit more on entertaining, and it's not as much trying to make you a better player. So this is going to be a little bit more progress driven. So if you're looking to step your game up, if you have questions, take all that. It is the format I'm planning on taking is that of a classroom setting. So it's going to be open to questions. Everybody's mic's going to be available. If you need me to clarify a topic, I can do that. Don't be scared to jump in. That's important. And also, I will be recording these calls so that I can put them up on YouTube. That way, if you do miss a call, I will have it posted in the coach chat whenever it gets uploaded to YouTube every week. And my plan is to have it every Tuesday evening, somewhere between 7 and 8. I'm going to do a poll on what time. But to start off, I just want to start with avoiding tilt. A very big thing for any competition, any kind of competitor, where we're talking about athlete or esports, like not getting tilted and staying on your game is very huge. Pretty common in like poker and things like that. It's definitely the type of mental framework that you need to have to be competitive, especially in longer events. And I find that a lot of people do have trouble actually, not, trouble because they bog themselves down with this extra pressure whenever they tilt in a tournament. And what do we mean by tilt? Well, tilting is, if you don't know, some people are new. This coaching lesson is open to everybody, so I don't want to, leave anything out. Unlike, one-on-one coaching, which is something that I do. I'm not screening the people in this call, so I'm going to try and be as thorough as possible. And if I do miss anything, feel free to ask questions. And again, if you're catching this on a VOD, you can always ask me to clarify in the coaching chat in the Discord. So, yeah, what I mean by tilt is, when you're playing and then you'll make a mistake, or you'll make a play and it's not optimal, or your opponent top decks. Sometimes it's no fault of your own. Your opponent top decks, draws a card, okay, and then puts you out the game, and you're like, man, that sucked. And it could just ruin, your mind frame for winning. And you have to have a winning mind frame if you want to win, particularly tournaments. And then we'll also talk about some differences, because there are differences on the ladder. Ladder takes a different kind of approach. But all in all, you need to just be trying to win. And, keeping that mind frame is very important. I think one reason I've had as much success in card games for as long as I've been playing them is because every game that I play, every single game I play, I try and win. Okay, and sometime I find myself in a position where that's actually a flaw whenever we talk about time constraints, because sometimes you need to actually concede a game if you're playing a card game that actually has a time restriction on the play. And that does happen in LOR specifically, because the seasonal tournament there is timed, so sometimes it's better to just concede. That's not always the case, but pretty much I'm trying to win every single game that I play. And when I start the game, from the very beginning, when we're looking at the mulligan, all the way to the very end, what is the best thing I can do to try and win this game? And if you focus on it like that, then breaks it down a little bit more because people are like, oh well, I just need 5 more wins to hit Masters, or I just need to get 2 more wins to make the top cut of this tournament, and that's not the best mind frame to have. Because then you make it a bigger thing. It's like I gotta win 5 in a row and I can do it, or I got 2 losses, so I need to do this, especially for tournaments, because it's like, oh, you got 2 losses, now I gotta do this to get in there. No, 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 no. None of that happens until you win the next game. So since that's already a part of it, and it's going to be a part of whatever your cocktail in your head for where you stand in a tournament and what you need to do to get to the top cut, or what you need to do to get to that next rank on ladder, since you're already putting in your head, and this is already going to be the first step towards that, why don't we just look at the first step? And that's the type of thing. It's applicable to life too. If you want to do something, you take the first step. If you got like a fitness goal or something, you go outside. You want to go take that walk. It's like, I want to start walking an hour a day. Okay, well, guess what? You got to leave the house. You got to close the door. You got to lock the door behind you. Like once you do that, that's the first step. You got to go to your car, drive your car to the park, or if you're walking just outside your house, you got to take the first step. And you'll find that once you take the first step, the next step's even easier, and then the next one after that, and then you get out of your head on this big task where if you're like, oh, I'm trying to get in shape, I'm trying to lose some weight, I'm trying to have more healthy habits, and that's like a bigger goal, right? But the smallest step is taking the first step. And so just as soon as you make your mind up to do something, you got like 90 seconds to do it. So go make a step towards it, basically. And that's the same in tournaments as well. And so if we just focus on the first step is winning this next game, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, but not thinking about the next game after that, just thinking about winning this game. How are we going to win the game that we're in? And then it also allows you to live in the present, which is good. Because if you start thinking about, oh, well, I lost this first game, now that means I got to win the third game if it's a best-of-3 format, it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do to win this third now? That's now there is some little deviation to that when we talk about conquest format, because the decks that you play will matter. What you bring will matter. Obviously, they're going to be locked in on that last deck if they won the first game, but it might matter for your mind frame which one to play to try and get a win, because you got to win the next game. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna play the deck that's definitely going to get a win right here, and not come with the hardest matchup first. You see, because we just got to get a win, because wins will snowball. That's the thing. If you get a win, it's going to snowball. And this could translate to life too. If you do something and it's a good thing and it works out for you, then you're looking for the next thing, and then it gives you something to build upon as well. So, if you do this on the ladder, it's like, okay, I got to win with this deck. Okay, let's get another one. Get right back in the queue, right? Jump back in the queue. We got to win another one. Let's go. Get back in the queue. Okay, we know what winning feels like. Let's keep it going. And here's the thing, you're going to lose. Card games is variance. That's like another thing that you have to accept to keep this winning mentality, is that you have to also know that losing is part of it. But there's a trick to losing. And this is a really good trick. Okay, when you lose, make sure you always win when you lose. If you win when you lose, then you will never lose. And you will always be a winner. Okay, well, Nola, tell me, how do I win when I lose? Okay. Explain that one to me. Well, it's not that hard, okay? Basically, if you look at this card game and you look at life, or like your existence in this competitive sphere, or whatever your goals are, it doesn't have to be super competitive. You might just be playing, just to ladder up a little bit. And yeah, it's a competitive game, but, mostly my focus is for competition here. That, if in that realm, your competition, the cliche, it's like, the race is long, you're only racing against yourself. Obviously there's people you're playing against, but the competition should always be with yourself to improve. Okay. So that's the hack to winning when you lose. So when you lose, can we look back at the game? Okay. It's good. If you got a good memory for this, sometimes it's good, since it's a digital game, you can download OBS, maybe record your game. That's also something that I recommend for this coaching session as well, because if you share your footage with me, we could maybe all learn something together. So in your future games, if you think about it, if you want to record, you can bring me here. But or maybe you just have the memory. Like I can remember a play-by-play of a Magic tournament I played a match I played in the middle of a tournament 7 years ago. I could give you the play-by-play, turn-by-turn in some matches. Luckily, I'm blessed with a memory like that. But we don't need that memory anymore because you can just record it. So if you record it and you play it back, let's just try and learn something between that game and the next game that you play. Don't queue up just yet. Let's watch that one again. Let's check it out. Let's bring it to the coaching class. Maybe we could share it with a friend. Hey, watch this game with me. Tell me what you think. That's the way to grow. And go back through the game. Was there a spot in this game where I could have changed my role in the game? Was there some extra damage that I took that put me in a compromising position later in the game that I really didn't have to take early? Was there a trade that I made that I could have had a better trade later instead of trading down here? Maybe I could have traded up later at the cost of some Nexus health. Things like that. And whenever you consider that, then you grow. You learn. If you can learn something from every game, and sometimes there's not something massive to learn, but always try and reflect back. It also gives you this time of reflection between rounds or between games or before you queue up again. It's like, what happened in that game, that I lost? Could it have been better? And then you reflect on it, or you review the footage, check the tape. You can do that. And once you do that, it gives you this little cool-off period, right? And then it's a constructive time, right? And you never really came off of exercising your brain either, because you're replaying the game in between rounds, so that when you get ready for the next one, you're already fired up. You're already in I gotta win mode from the first game, or let's use what we learned in this next game, see if it comes up again. Let me look out for this a little bit more. And so then you are just more in line with being able to compete, because your mind is already there, because you spent from between the last game and the next game already replaying the last game in your head. A lot of the game is theory. I know a lot of great players that don't even play test. It's all theory. And they can execute. There is parts to execution that are important and can require play test. There's some things that are issues. I know they're more common in paper card games where it comes to dexterity and not really shuffling your deck, and managing your time. That's important. As far as LOR goes, there's a lot less of that because it's digital, but you can still mess up, misclick, not consider animations. And like if you play tested, you'd be like, okay, that animation is going to cook some time off my clock. The Twist of Fate in particular has a long level up. So when you're planning your turn, you need to start making actions before the rope. That's important. And you would have known that if you played the games. So yeah, playing the games. And the accessibility of a digital card game, especially one that's also on mobile, makes it even easier to actually practice. So, you're not going to need to play Hammer a million games with a deck. I mean, I've played a lot of games with some decks, and, it has helped me master those decks, sure. But you don't need to be a master. You just need to be able to understand the tactics. And I think if you look at it in a self-improvement way, like just trying to be better at the game overall, and you take every loss as a learning experience, then you open yourself up to having a positive attitude. And that positivity, good vibes. I say it at the end of every one of my streams. One love, good vibes. You got to keep the good vibes out there, because positive energy will just get more positive energy, and that positive energy is just going to translate to W's. It's just in one form, fashion, or the other. Whether it's networking, whether it's connections, whether it's winning this game, whether it's finding a playtest partner, whether it's doing well in a tournament. You got positive energy, whether it's if you're an aspiring streamer, or if you're trying to make content and you want to put more into your work. I think having good vibes is a very important part of that too, and all that is things that come in card games. And so I know many of y'all are on many different levels. Everybody's not on the same level, and not everybody has the same goals. And again, like I said at the beginning of this call, Not screening anybody to be in here, so I'm trying to make it as general as possible, and that might cause me to be a little all over the place with it, but or cover more bases. Not really all over the place, but just try and cover more bases here. But whatever your goal is, you set the goal, and then you need to make steps towards it. So if your goal is winning a tournament or grinding a ladder, which I'm talking about specifically when we talk about avoiding tilt, because that's what I am. I'm a tournament player. I grind the ladder. I don't grind the ladder as hard as a lot of people do, but when I do well at it. I was top 10 on the ladder last year. I think I was peak 5 at the end of the last season, right before the close of it. And, queued for the seasonal tournament. I've been master every season, and I've won quite a few LOR tournaments. And it's all about, so I'm speaking of that. That's probably what I speak to best. But again, if there's any specifics on different levels of competition or different goals or different mind frames, that you're looking to achieve, I can definitely help. I don't know about mind frames. That's not really what I'm saying, but I can help you. I can be more specific on that. So again, reach out in the chat or reach out and come to one of the live calls. Anybody's open for conversation. Yeah, but that's pretty much how you want to treat the competitive angle on LOR is look at every loss as a W. Try and find a W in there, and that W is if you motivate yourself to just improve, then that and I feel like most of y'all being here today or watching this video is already a step in that direction. So being able to know that that's something that you want, and then also make it a fixation of reflection, making it as a using reflection as a tool to really that'll translate into a win if that's what your goal actually is. So you already got the first step on that, but just make sure that that is what your goal is, and then you'll never lose. And the cool thing about that is you actually learn a lot. You learn double from your games. And I think people do tilt off. I was doing some coaching recently on my stream, and I had a friend of mine who, was tilting kind of hard, and I was just very patient. There's actually VODs of it. I was very patient, maybe trolled a little bit and joked a little bit, but was very patient when I was, backseat coaching and helping him to hit masters. And, there was times off the stream or on the stream when we were working together where, he was very distraught. I'm not going to make it, or, this is messed up, and, actually got really irritated. And you really can't fall into that trap because that's instant tilt. If you get irritated by it, yeah, okay. Is it an annoyance? Sure. Okay. But as soon as, and do I get annoyed? Absolutely. It's like, come on, man. Did that just happen? And immediately the best, if you catch yourself in that situation, the best thing you could do is try and revert to, well, could I play around it? Was there a way to play around it? And sometimes there isn't. Like currently in the meta, I don't know when you're watching this video. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, years from now, this go hard, months from now, weeks from now, this go hard's already been nerfed, and then possibly some other changes to the cards in the game. But those are unavoidable in some sense. They are unavoidable, but you can't let them control your emotions. You can't let them throw you off. If they're playing Go Hard, and that's a popular deck, okay, well, you got a couple choices here. You can try and build a comp for a tournament if you're playing a tournament, and Go Hard's what's annoying you. That's another reason why I like Go Hard. It's very easy to estrange a deck that is either too powerful or just that you don't like playing against. Some people don't like playing against Fiora. Some people don't like, and so I like tournaments for that because you can just ban that out with consideration of what they might have left. Okay, so you can maybe build your comp to beat that can lose to that, right? And so we'll focus in deck building comps. I'll definitely have coaching calls on that in the future. But whenever it comes to avoiding tilt, that's one thing. You can mitigate the tilt by removing it entirely, by building a comp that looks to ban it. Or you can build a comp that looks to beat it, and then you're happy to see it, you see. And if it's a prevalent deck, it might be a good idea as well. Again, we'll talk about deck construction in a different video. But that's one way to do it. Less possible, obviously, on ladder, because on ladder you're not going to have access to a ban feature. But you still have some tools available. If you're trying to deal with the ladder, you can maybe get decks that are designed to beat it. I mean, that will open you up to lose it to other decks, which can also be tilting. I've run into that before. Whenever I've played decks that were designed to beat the best deck, and then you run up on ladder and you're playing against random decks, and then you start losing to them, or like decks that can't beat Ionia. Like whenever I play test tournament decks on the ladder, that's usually what happens. It's like when I was practicing for the seasonal tournament, it was like, okay, I want to play decks, and I'm planning on banning Go Hard, okay? And then you start playing against on the ladder, it's like, well, I might as well just concede this, And of course I didn't concede the games, because got to win every game. That's the winning mindset. I'm trying to win every game. So I still played them. Some I won, some I lost. Was it annoying? Yeah. I mean, it's annoying playing against that deck, sure, for me. Not for everybody. But it's not always like that. And it is what you make of it. And so when we're talking about managing tilt, you just got to look at what's important to you. You need to reassess your own goals. Bring it on yourself. Put it on yourself. Don't put it on your opponent. Don't put it on, that, because then, that'll be a problem. Luckily, there's not much way of your opponent inducing tilt other than the card game play. Obviously, there's emotes. I know that was a problem in Magic the Gathering. And, obviously a strategy, too. Some players would, intentionally be a little edgy when they play to, get an edge in the game. Some people call it angle shooting. Some people call it being a dick. Some people thought it was a competitive tactic. So luckily that's not part of LOR so much, so I don't have to coach you on how to avoid it. But if they're throwing a bunch of emotes and that's something that bothers you, obviously emotes, they don't really bother me that much, but some people get mad at emote spammers, and if that's going to be an issue, or it's something that you can just mute them and do it ahead of time. That way you won't get tilted by the emotes. It seems silly, it might be petty, but it's not. If it's something that bothers you and you can change it, then change it. It's like anything. If this is something that is a problem, or something that causes you not to live the way you want to live, then try and remove it from your life. And you can definitely do that in the LOR client. Just hit the mash the mute button on the emotes. So yeah, emotes is one way they can tilt you. Roping is another thing. Have a little patience. If they want to rope, that's fine. Maybe while they're roping, you could emote them to kill the time. You could also think about the play. You might already have the play in your head, right? Or maybe you could just readdress the play. Think about what are they thinking about, right? Well, if they have this many considerations, how many cards they have in their hand, use the time they're giving you to actually beat them. Because at the end of the day, what's better than beating them? It doesn't matter what they did, or if they were trolling, wasting time, emoting, playing, whatever, and you beat them. So what? So what now? I beat you. It's like, the age isn't like that nowadays, but when I was growing up, you got in a fight with somebody, and then after you got in a fight with them, guess what? They didn't mess with you no more. Whether they beat you or you beat them or whatever, you're usually best friends with the person after, right? So you beat them, and then guess what? They ain't got nothing to do but shut up at that point, because you beat them, especially in a competition. So I feel that is still true. So we're just going to focus on winning and taking care of ourselves. Okay, we can't worry about everybody else out here. So if we could actually cut them out of the equation, like if the emotes are going to tilt us, we're not going to let that in on us. Their deck selection, we're not going to let that bother us either. We'll try and mitigate as much as possible, because that could be a tilting thing in the game as well. And then, of course, the rope. And we'll use the rope to our advantage to beat them. So, you want to give me extra time, I'll use the extra time constructively and turn that into W's. And that's how we're going to do it. And then that's very important whenever we're talking about ladder, because on the ladder, again, managing tilt is very important. If you need to take a break, take a break. That's another thing. Like this meta, I don't really like that much, and so for the last couple of weeks, I just haven't been playing it that much. I get on, get my vault up, or I'll switch off and play Expedition because I still love the game. I love LOR, so I'll play some Expedition, something like that. Jump in the lab, have some fun. It is a game. Don't forget to have fun, and take a little breather. Maybe try something else. Maybe go for a walk, do some yoga. There we go. Do some yoga. Get some stretches in. Now, I mean, I probably don't look like the yoga type, but anybody can do yoga. And I definitely used to do some yoga between rounds at Magic tournaments, and it should be no different. It should be no different. Exit the space, stretch a little, reflect. Meditate. There's a lot of good things you can do to try and absorb, or mitigate and avoid tilt. And once you become the master of that, and you learn good practices on that, and there's a lot of tools. Hydrate, that's also really important. Take care of your body. I mean, my body's not the most well-kept temple, but I'll tell you what, if I'm gaming, I got to drink a lot of water. Don't eat heavy meals. If you're playing a tournament, that's also important. And, just being in a better shape like that, not being sluggish, don't eat a heavy breakfast before a big tournament. There's a lot of dietary things, too, whenever it comes to competing. I'll get into it at some point in another call. But, that'll also add up to tilting and not tilting. If you're feeling good, you're not going to tilt as much. Exit the space, You got something going on, and that's going to obviously affect your life or whatever your goal is. You either need to take care of it to where it's not in there, or you need to learn how to block it out. I don't think blocking it out is the most healthy, but sometimes in the interim or the short term, if you can just pretend like nothing happens. People talk about video games escapism. Sometimes competition for me has been an escape in a lot of tough times in my life. When my pops died, what did I do? I went to a Magic tournament. I was like, I gotta go to a Magic tournament. I gotta get out of here. People do it with, drugs and alcohol. Why can't we do it with video games? So, it's definitely something. Tilt. And I hope that I've given you some tools to help avoid tilt in game in LOR. You're not just gaming, in life too. Life can be tilting sometimes too. And if you have any questions, I'm looking forward to them in the coaching chat. I'm not the best at managing Discord, so if anybody is great at managing Discords, I really want to clean up my Discord and make this a place that is good for people, where we can grow together. And that's not only just in play skill, but as people and as a community, and as a little piece of the internet. I'm not good at managing any of the tech stuff, so I'm looking for that. And then also, if anybody could help with YouTube videos, I'm trying to do that too. Any other stuff like that, I figure I'll take that on at the end. I'm not invested in anything but just doing something awesome. I've always loved hanging out with a bunch of people, crowd, getting better, and helping people out, and improving myself while helping other people improve as well. So I'm not the best at all the tech stuff, so if anybody has any help with that, I would definitely appreciate it. And and I'll be looking forward to the next call. And what my plan is to do like a 30-minute call on a topic, and then we'll do questions and answers after, an open category to where everybody can discuss. Obviously, I don't mind if you stop me while I'm lecturing, if it's the first 30 minutes is like a lecture coach type deal, because sometimes things need clarification earlier. Just to be able to follow along. Hold up. If you gotta put the brakes on me, sometimes I ramble a little bit. It's a little different. If you catch me on the stream, this is a different look. But I think that's gonna be it for my call. And I'll be looking forward to the next one. So make sure you stay tuned. I will be announcing on the Discord as well as on Twitter before my calls each week. We're gonna be looking to do Tuesday evenings. And this is my first one on Tilt. And if you have any topics too, or any questions, make sure you use the coaching chat for that. We're trying to get better at this game together. And, we could definitely have them covered. So I'll be paying close attention to the coaching chat. And if there's something that you need me to answer directly make sure you add me on Discord so that I can find it. And if I haven't addressed it, you could always DM me as well. My DMs are open. One love, everybody. Good vibes. And I'll catch you next week.